rolling.
Well, are we rolling?
Yeah.
Do you don't have your tripod then?
No.
You don't want your tripod? I've got a tripod.
If you
Rolling yet?
Okay, now I am.
God,
Yeah. Go on.
We can't have any outtakes for Projects Black, Kathy.
Okay.
So, well, it's nice to see you, Kathy. Welcome to the end of the Avondale Suite.
Yes.
You can see that we got things packed up here. I don't know if you got that in shot. That's on this side over here.
Yeah.
The important thing is that I just want to finish this off.
Yeah.
Is that in the communications industry, I've mentioned that there are things called scuttlers, which are devices which are information-seeking, artificially created devices. Some say with alien technology, but we don't know that.
Yeah.
The point is that they're accessing the barrier, or not the barrier, but the interface between our consciousness. Which means when you see a scuttler, you've got about probably a second, 2 or 3 seconds to cognise it before it tells you it doesn't exist. Now, I didn't come up with the name for scuttlers, but the reason why they're called scuttlers is because that's the way they look and behave. They look like big spiders, about this size. I've got a biggish hand.
Yeah.
So you're looking at sort of like a spider that behaves like a crab. And they're on information systems. I first encountered them in the transmitters of Energy 106, which was my pirate station, transmitting dance music to young people, which we had a pretty good idea at the time that the reason why we weren't being raided was because we were being used. So we knew that, so we took countermeasures. The point about this is the scuttler, or the scuttlers, were actually feeding or actually on the output component of the transmitter. So that's where the actual final point of contact was between what was going in and then what was going to go out, i.e. into the antenna system. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because having talked to other people, for instance, Alara Blackwell is a remote viewer super soldier. In other words, she's come forward a couple of years ago in the United States as being a Psi spy. That's to say, she is actively operating, or did actively operate in the sort of Psi domain. Now, the point about this is that most of our cognitive senses, we're told in the physics that we've had gerrymandered physics, is that it's physical. Okay, this matter, everything is physical, right? That's all there is. But the point about invisibility technology and the point about psychic technology, or shall we say technology which allows you to operate in different dimensions, is the phase relationship of the wavefront imagery that you see from this hologram, right? Fundamentally, all the physicality that we're looking at is basically a holographic type of imagery, okay? Now, it isn't actually holographic, but they're just using that term to explain it. That's why we have a thing called the so-called holographic universe. Now, the point about all this is that the light that our eyes perceive, and because we've got these two big eyes in front of our heads, we have a tendency to think that's all that there is. The eyes that we look and see with, the optical things, as opposed to the inner eye, and the two big things in the head called the left and right hemispheres. These things are in our brain, you know. These cognitize and perceive things, okay? But what's happened is that our perception has been trained to only focus on what's coming through these receptors here, okay? Now, the point about these receptors is that they're looking at a mush of light that's flying all around the place, lots of wavefronts, disorganized light. If you use filters which polarize the light, or you illuminate something with polarized light, you start seeing a whole different range of things very simply by using polarized light. So for instance, if you want to see things floating around which otherwise our eyes don't properly cognize or optically see, you can actually use polarized light to see things which are actually in plain sight. For instance, the human aura, So for instance, right now I'm radiating a whole pile of colours and a whole range of things which some people with enhanced sight and perception can actually see the aura of a human being. Using special cameras like Kirlian cameras, you can actually optically translate that electronically, or using photographic technologies, polarizing the light, you can see things. Well, the point about this is if you rotate the phase of the light that's coming off objects, you will see other things. Bloody hell, both phones at the same time.
Okay.
Hello, Ria.
Okay.
And hopefully the damn phone won't work. Right, the point about this is that the ability to see things can be perceived with the mind's eye, the so-called third eye, and you can see things and optically see things that visually you're not necessarily going to see or pick up. Now the point about things, a lot of this happens on edge recognition. Fast motion is detected so that if your eyes are designed so that if a predator or something's coming in from, oh fuck this to hell. Just plug the thing in. Bloody other phone off. Right, I'll be rolling.
We are.
Now the point about this is we're trying to talk about these things here, which are cognitive devices which attack or alter or are imprinted or put into our psyche. Now what's happening is, because I'm talking about these things, we've had about 5 phone calls, both phones ringing at the same time. This is a classic indication of this sort of stuff not being wanting to be seen. Now what we're talking about here, the reason why I'm talking about this is the technology of the scuttler, which is an information gathering or information attacking or feeding device in the virtual domain. Now rather than try to explain how that works or how it happens, what I'm actually going to start on is evidence. This is randomly photographed evidence at Sky Television. Now let's make it very clear, because these were photographed at Sky Television, it doesn't mean that Sky Television is exclusively being manipulated. It just means this is a symptom of or evidence of consciousness manipulation in a broadcasting environment. The point about the scuttlers is that they're accessing in the virtual domain and plotting the mind profiles of everybody that the broadcast system is accessing. So it means that there are devices which are accessing all our consciousness, and they're using the broadcast system as a mechanism of doing this. Now the older systems use the electricity supply system, and there is evidence that the greys and other dark technology items have used the centrally generated electricity supply system to access everybody. It's the one thing that's literally plugged into every single home in all over the world. So the use of high frequency information in the electricity supply system is now being used to transmit intranet systems, and has been for quite some time. But the problem with this is that from a mind control perspective, the one thing that stops these high frequency pulses from optically accessing into the brain has been the old tungsten light bulb. So what they've had to do is they've had to say the old tungsten light bulb is inefficient, which it is. It produces a lot of heat rather than light, and so therefore it's a bad thing. So what they've done is they've banned the old tungsten light bulb, and you have the high frequency light bulbs. Now for instance, right now I'm actually being illuminated with LED lights. And LED lights produce quite a lot of light, but they also produce a strange light. It's a light that doesn't actually translate too well from the source. So the source is extremely bright, but where the light actually falls from an illumination point of view is actually relatively weak. So the point about this is it's a very bright light source, and it's a modulatable light source. You can modulate it with high frequency information. And this week, we're talking in the third week of October 2013, the Chinese have said, oh, we don't need Wi-Fi to transmit computer signals, we can use light bulbs. Well, the clue is there. If you can use the LED light systems to transmit high frequency information, after all, it's the LED that is the thing which transmits through a fiber optic that very, very high frequency and huge amount of information. So the LED is a perfect transducer for sending optical pulsed signals directly into the brain. Now the point about this is that doesn't mean it is being used at the moment, but it means it could be. So the power supplies of these light systems, like street lights and other LED light systems, have to be checked electrically or electronically to see how much high frequency information in the raw electric wiring is translated into pulses on those LEDs. Now the point about this is they've been developing mind code technology. In other words, by simply repeating or using the brain code signals. The brain is a computer type system. It's set using signals and clicks and pulses and waveforms, which is the meat or the software of the brain. So for instance, when you see something, your eyes send those signals through the receptors of the eye into the brain as pulses. So for instance, if you were to generate a similar set of pulses based on an image that you had, and you push this down the electricity supply system, and the LED lights, the street lighting or the lighting in your home has these pulses then going into them, and the LEDs then illuminate and send these optically into your mind, your brain will then see these pulses and directly translate them as real images that you're actually seeing. So quite literally, you can use the electricity supply system to send holographic images which only the brain of certain people will see. Not everybody would necessarily decode these signals, but for instance, if your brain has been prepped or subliminally programmed to accept optically flash transmitted signals, then you will see something which you are convinced is real. Okay? You'll also move around, you'll see what's there which isn't there. Okay? So that's one way that these lights can be used as a mechanism for mass control over whole sectors, basically from a substation onwards in the main electrical supply system. I suspect that the main transformer systems will greatly impede these higher frequency signals, so therefore the actual use of these signals would have to be done relatively locally in an area, but we'll see. The technology is probably well advanced to allow the electricity supply system to transmit these signals, and certainly now that the public streets have now got LED lights. And as I've said in a previous clip, or a clip that Kathy will show later, Dr. Rowney Kilda was actually triggered so that she lost the use of her legs while she was in the zone of 3 of these LED street lights in Norway. Now the reason why I've had these pictures for quite some time. These pictures were taken in June of 2009, and I actually have a very strong suspicion that whoever got these are pictures randomly painted onto white bathroom tiles. And what the study was, and I think it was a study, I think it was a subtle, subliminal or nefarious psychological study, and it was conducted at Sky Television around about June 2009, that what they wanted was to see what people were seeing. Now what's in these pictures is, in my opinion, extremely alarming, because what they're demonstrating, what they're showing, is the fact that ordinary members of staff are picking up on a message system or life forms which are in the system and around us. And these, some people would describe these entities as jinn. That's to say, they start with a point source of darkness, and as this point source enters our perceptive zone, it's very important, this perceptive zone, because this isn't real, okay? But we encode it, we interpret it as real, in the same way that we interpret all things around us as real, because nothing quite is real or quite is what it seems. So the point about these pictures is, as a random sample, when I saw these, I decided to photograph them with my cell phone, and I've kept them sort of half under wraps for the last 4 years, because what I was tracking in broadcasting is the subliminal use of broadcast systems for massive cognitive control. Now, this isn't just mind control, this is complete control of our cognizance, our consciousness. And this is a weaponization, this is an anthropological weaponization of our consciousness. Now, this isn't new. Now, this particular gentleman here has a guy called Joseph Atwill, who's been interviewed by others and has produced this book called The Caesar's Messiah. Now, the purpose of this is, now this book is very controversial, what's being said is very controversial, but I'm just using it as a mechanism to illustrate the point that our consciousness has been weaponized, that our anthropological or anthropic consciousness has been weaponized 2,000 years ago by the Romans. This is not new. The point that is new is that human consciousness is waking up, and there are systems being employed through our electrical supply system, our broadcasting system, and our mass consciousness distributor systems to make sure we don't wake up. So, Caesar's Messiah, the Roman conspiracy to invent Jesus, in other words the whole of Christianity, is an invention to control Europeans, and it's done very, very well, particularly in Ireland, where it's done nothing but promote war and aggression and destruction wherever it goes, and it's put humanity into a 2,000-year dark age. What I'm trying to alert people to is that we are facing a light age, an age of awareness, and there are forces from other realities which are absolutely hell-bent on making sure we don't wake up. And these photographs, these drawings by members of staff at Sky Television in June of 2009 are a very, very alarming illustration of what's going on here. Now, these are the two basic multiple optical pictures which I took with my phone. Now we've tweaked these up to try and pull the color up and the exposure. Now the point about this is, my pirate station, Kiss FM, had that as a logo. Now, did you get that in the previous recording?
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Now that indicates, that's a signature of what we call intelligence transfer sequencing, where the awareness is piggybacked underneath all this stuff. That is the Kiss FM Kiss Lips of my pirate station in 1987-88, which dovetailed into the switch-on sequencing of Sky Television, which we utilized Murdoch to enable that. I spoke to Maxwell initially. We were going to do it out of the Isle of Man. So the cognitive sequencing trigger, somebody's saying hello here. I actually feel very strongly that somebody has set this test up, that they've been using some kind of psychotronic technology to influence the thought processes of people at Sky, and then they wanted to see how effective it was, and then they actually came up, could you draw us some nice random pictures? And here are these nice random pictures. Now these are shocking entities coming from the id, so to speak. Now there's a similarity between all of these which is very alarming. Now this particular one here, and I'll hope that Kathy will be able to, this one we've got we've basically got two common. This is an example of the projection at work, and this has been picked up by two of the people at Sky, and they painted these. Now the thing is, this is one of them. That's a series of out of focus images, or I mean, maybe it will trigger a different thing in you, or when you observe these, because like a lot of these psycho tests, they will do different things to different people. But the similarity here, the hand and the circular broken image, these are like atoms in an electron microscope if you look really down at it. But this particular person's done this in lunchtime on a white tile. He's painted the black round, and then I'm saying he, probably a she actually, and put these different images. That's interesting. The same thing with this, with the hand, and again the round imagery. Now the point about this is, this then translates into these point sources of a face, right? The face, the roundness here, again, these have got eyes in them. This particular one here has got hundreds of eyes, lots of eyes, and this is a signature of jinn, these eyes. So this is something that somebody has perceived, lots and lots of eyes coming through some kind of portal. Again, look at the dots. This is very similar to this. This is as if the image is started, and then as it worked through, it came out like this. Again, we've got the zigzag lines on the out of it, and the eyes, right? All through this, even the KISS logo. The KISS lips, again, is an elliptical thing with an eye in the middle of it. Okay. There's another one here with lots of little faces, smiling faces. There's another one there. There's the cat face, again with the eyes. This is another eye, right? This is very, very common. Again, the faces here, all these faces smiling with big eyes, and then things coming from them. In this particular one, you've got the cat face with the whiskers. This is a remote viewer's dream. This implies some kind of space, something involved here. Okay. Okay. This is again the KISS lips, the KISS FM lips, and the eye in the middle. It gets similar. It's a similar image. People are getting all these people at Sky being used, in my opinion, in some kind of psychotronic test, and this is evidence of this happening. Now this is probably one of the more worrying thing. Now the thing about this is the kiosk. This is the Sky kiosk where they actually served the coffee, where they made this, where they did this test. Now this actually, in some respects, is similar. It's like a TV set. You got a smiling face in there, but there are. I would even suggest that the actual booth that they used was part of the subliminal programming being used on this. Now the thing about this is a creature which is known to be in implantees. What you've got is people who are implanted. They have a creature which has got a body, a longish body with lots of legs. Some researchers like Rosemary Ellen Guiley describes jinn as appearing as creatures with lots of legs, and there you have it there. And again, we got the smiley face, but look at the eyes. They're like mesmerized. I think this is an alarming alarm bell on what's going on. Now, for instance, here we have this is a classic thing. The device that I saw at the back of Sky was a creature with the big things like this, and it was about 12 feet in size. Again, that's something that's entering into our consciousness and reality. Now, the other thing about this is they've drawn the Simpsons, and this is actually very interesting because the Simpsons have got the same smiley face. I suspect now very strongly that the Simpsons is a mind control device, and it's being used as a mechanism for propagating thought or mind control. Now here we have the little lady in the TV set, which is very, very like the actual kiosk itself. We have the little lady in the TV set. This is a whole lot of triggers. Somebody's gone to a lot of effort to set this thing up. Again, I didn't think this actually, these scales, I didn't think that they actually meant anything, but of course you've got the two eyes again, and it's sort of again a bit like a face. Again, it depends which part of the image that the consciousness is picking up. And this has even got a UFO beside it. Now we'll see if we can actually get this. This is, let's see if we got the smiley face. We went through this, and when we were going through it, there's the Kiss Lips, Kiss FM, Kiss Lips. Now these may be triggering people, these images. It's interesting if you are triggered, or you are seeing or noticing something. Now perhaps in the edit, Kathy can, there's an absolute clangor here. If Kathy can maybe put these raw images. This here, the eye coming through the legs and the UFO. What's the UFO doing in somebody working at Sky Television or broadcasting? With a smiley face, the UFO itself is mimicking the creature, and the creature is doing this, hello. Now this is a remote view image. When somebody's remote viewing you, sometimes this is the kind of thing your mind's eye will see. I think this is indication of a major psyops operation happening in broadcasting. I think this is a major alarm bell, and the reason why I'm saying this is, as I said at the start, was the mention of the term scuttler by a network's transmission analyst. Now this particular network's transmission analyst was doing some work at a major broadcast facility, and he actually specialized in building mind profiles from the errors you make when you type. Now I've mentioned that earlier, but the point about these, we're concentrating on these images here. That's the UFO, that's the device or creature, and this is where the octopus type stuff comes in. Now the clue, another clue to this, is really a major alarm bell, the butterfly. But the butterfly looks very like the Kiss Lips. Okay? If you look at it this way. So the Kiss Lips and the butterfly. Now the butterfly is in Project Monarch. They use the Monarch butterfly. The Monarch butterfly, they don't call it Project Monarch because it's to do with royalty. It's because of the Monarch butterfly. And this is a butterfly. This, to me, indicates a massive alarm bell that broadcasting has been used for massive mind control on a massive level. Now the point about this is, the text on this says, this butterfly takes you to new horizons. And there's some other seashells there at the bottom of this. Again, this is blown up from that simple camera I had. It only had a 1 megabyte pixel. But this to me is a huge alarm bell. So I thought, because I knew this was, I suspected very strongly this was happening, so I thought I'd second guess it. I thought I'd be really, really clever. So I decided to push my 10p in, my 10 in, and so I drew my picture and I put Radio Caroline on it. But I was actually also showing that I had been susceptible to the same mind control. So there is Radio Caroline, but Radio Caroline's actually a smiley face. There's the ship, a smiley face, and there's the radio waves coming from it, which I thought, oh, I'm being so clever, but it's the same as the other. I mean, this, for instance, this cat with the stuff on the top, the hair, and of course we have the sun with the big eye, and the radial tentacles coming from it. So in my effort to second guess this, I actually illustrated this was in my subconscious as well. So I also put the good old abductee craft, the triangle craft, which this was mimicking the craft that I just seen a few months before fly over the Energy 106 site. This was just me sort of putting my little 10p worth in to let those who were running the psychology test, that, you know, I was letting them know that I'd second guessed them, and I'm letting them know now I'm second guessing them. And that was a whale. And I put the loving awareness thing, because loving awareness is something which you transmitted from Radio Caroline. This is another one. Again, lots of smiley faces and a UFO. So what are ordinary people in their lunchtime, in a major broadcaster in this country, thinking of aliens, UFOs, smiley faces coming out of nowhere, and there's well, what's that spanner? That's something. And it's got a word there which I think is WADT or WOOT, I'm not sure. Again, the smiley faces are things coming to you. Here's more smiley faces. Again, they've got the sun on the same side of the picture that I drew my sun. Again, these tentacle type things coming. Again, another smiley face, a bit like my Radio Caroline with the boat, with the smile and the hair, and then the inverted image of somebody smiling. There's something. Yeah, this is manipulation, in my opinion. Again, this is again somebody else on this image has got the tool. They've got the spade. They've got the nice beach ball. But again, it's an eye. Okay. This is a larger version of this, which is the shimmering image as it materializes. That's my view. If somebody could have a completely different view on this and think I'm talking rubbish, I don't think so. I think this is an indication of something very serious at a public broadcaster, and frankly I think Ofcom and their clowns are in on this. Again, the face, the smiley face, again this is a subliminal, this is a common artifact in computers. People put the smiley faces on. Monarch mind control here, guys. Now this one is the giant octopus. The giant octopus creatures are one of the problems. They grab hold of the back of the shoulder and infuse in through the back of the skull in the C2 and C3 and 4, 5 region of the neck, and also involve the left ear. And people who suffer from this creature issue, A, don't heal properly if they get an injury here, and B, because there's something stopping it from happening, and B, it affects the brain, affects your guidance, and you won't be able to balance properly. And there was a number of people there who had this problem. This is a flower, and it's growing out of the ground. But again, we're dealing with the central theme of the inner part of the flower, and again, you know, it's a bit like a butterfly if you take one of the wings off. You know, this symmetrical butterfly image is a flower. It's again, I mean, I'm seeing similarities here which are outrageous, and we'll just try to get that butterfly symbol. I'm sure Kathy will be. Yeah, this is essentially the same thing. Now that here we have the butterfly, but the butterfly's antenna is used as part of the image. With this image, if you look at it, turn it upside down, you've got the flower with something sticking out of it, and the butterfly with its sensitive things, and then this has got all the surrounding faces or butterflies or creatures or whatever you want to call around it. This is a big alarm bell. Somebody's really gone to town on this. Again, this simple one, a little kid. Again, the sun is on the same side. Again, this side, the sun's got these radials or tentacles coming from it. And whatever this is on the hair, again, the smile. Again, the way that the arms are up in this. This is really serious. I really do feel that this is, I actually feel that people have got an actionable lawsuit on their hands against who's done this. They have been exploited very, very seriously. Somebody's had a real laugh in 2009, and as I say, I was tracking this, and because I tracked it and blew the whistle on it, I was fired. Okay, those are the KISS symbols again. This, from my point of view, indicates that the KISS sequencer was in on it. That's to say, this was a backdoor kill-all sequencer to stop this from happening, and the signature's on this. And it's also on the paintwork of the tarmac at Athena Court. No turning back. No turning backs from the Irish era of pirate radio, part 7, boys and girls. Okay, Sister Sledge, no turning back. Lost in music. And these are the, this is a classic gin. According to Rosemary Ellen Guiley, this is the, as I say, this is the large blow up of that. So the point about it is, it's mind control and broadcasting was the signature that I was alarm belling. I'm very grateful that certain individuals within a certain company that did broadcasting, does broadcasting, co-alerted me to this a lot around about that time. I have a very strong suspicion that have you run out?
I've got a red light on the battery.
Anyway, let's just finish this. I have a very strong suspicion that I was set up for this in 2010, but this is a year before this, in 2009. So we have got a situation where our consciousness is being manipulated by subspace cognitive devices. Tom Bearden called them subspace engines, I believe. And these are they're subspace electronic signals. I think, is this running?
Like I said, I've got red on the battery.
Right, because I don't see any lights on. Have you come out of record?
Record is still lit.
Well, okay, we'll use that as another outtake for Projects Black. Okay, well, basically speaking, the fact that a person during this week has independently come up with the term scuttler, and this is a person who plots mind maps from your keyboard errors, is an indication that our whole network systems, our computer systems, our broadcasting systems, our minds are being mapped from reverse engineered. Our cognizance is being mapped or being reverse engineered, and they're able to implant our minds with devices. And this is an indication that this has happened and been very successful. And I wish to alert people to this, and the LED light bulbs on street lights is another one.
Go on.
Well, there it is in summary. Very briefly, Caesar's Messiah. Again, I'm not necessarily supporting the point of view of this individual author, but it is a work which is describing that the entire Christian era has been a weaponized anthropological weapon system to bring a dark age of 2,000 years to humanity, courtesy of the Romans. The point about this is, KISS FM, we were an awareness trigger. We're part of a sequence in Ireland which was a wake-up call, and it's interesting, this has appeared in a set of white tiles that people drew at Sky Television in June 2009. The basic synopsis of all these images is that they have a common thread. Somebody's been messing about. I have a very strong suspicion the reason why these drawings were asked for is because they wanted to see how much of their mind control technology had worked at Sky Television, and I would say it's worked very well. We've got the monarch. That is not actually a monarch butterfly. It is a thing that looks like a butterfly, but there's an awful lot in there as well in terms of the similarity to the KISS logo, which we used in 1987 and 88, through to 89, but also the way that this is an entry into some other dimension, the way that you're going between other dimensions. I think if you look at this roughly like that, one will think of the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey, okay, and what was involved with that, and the other issue about, yeah, well, I mean, this is saying takes you to new horizons. Whoever drew this was giving us a message, okay? This is a very serious message. Now, it's taken me 4 years to actually sit down as I close down the Avondale suite here. That this has been on my mind for 4 years. So in 2013, that's my report for Kathy. I'll give Kathy the pictures on this, and I think this is a final close down. The Sky TV logo in the back. That's the way we started at Sky. We had great hopes. Can't say I could say that now. So we need that £24 million to make sure that we can get a free-to-air transmission system and Ofcom. You're not fit for purpose. I'm saying this because all independent media, which gives you an alternative view on things, Edge, Paradigm Shift TV and its family of substations, not all of which I can remember the report from Canada, what's his name, my own 8 hours every month, all taken off the air. Richard D. Hall's brilliant program taken off the air. It's not good enough when those channels are taken off the air because one little person complains. That's not the way things should be going. That means that there's no outlet on free-to-air television for any kind of independent analysis of what's going on, except from Rush Today. And frankly, girls and boys, Rush Today is doing a very good job. It's an Al Jazeera in many respects. I cannot say that for a single one of the broadcasters providing news and information services in this country. This is an indication of what's going on. We need a new voice in broadcasting. We are getting a new voice in broadcasting, but it's on the internet where they can track every single person who's watching. And as we know, there's a scuttler about, and it could be in your computer and in your head, as the song goes. So we need that independent source of information. And finally, I'm very grateful for those people who have actually donated to the Basis Project. It's very gratefully received, and thank you very much. I'm not able to thank you individually, but from whatever donation we have, we've got to hit that 24 million, because this has to be big, it has to be strong, it has to be independent, and somehow this is going to happen. Humanity is now in its final stages, and we've got to make sure that that final stage, or whatever new horizon we're going to go to, is going to be a good one. But the stage is now set for species termination on this planet for all human beings, both consciously and physically, and we will not be able to reincarnate into our physical bodies anymore if what is being planned is going to happen. So that's it from the Avondale Suite. Good night and God bless, and we'll see you on the other side.